This is Pete Moore on Halo Talks NYC on location, San Diego, Ursa 2019. I have the pleasure of having Larry Connor and Stephanie Coulon from Louisiana to join us on the show. They are with Stone Creek Club and Spa.
That's right.
How'd I do? Club and Spa?
That's very good.
Club and Spa. You could definitely increase the price if I was your marketing person. Club and Spa.
Well, we just might do
there
that
you
now.
go. $99 down and $5.99 a month.
You gotta go up a few hundred from there.
There you go. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. So why don't we talk about your background, how you got into the industry, how you took your knowledge, turned it into a business that you now run and control, and
Sure.
Helping thousands of people. So
Sure.
So fire away.
All right. Well, growing up through high school and college, I worked in the hospitality industry in the hotels, earning my way through. So once I graduated with my accounting degree, a position became available at a large fitness club for their controller. So loved exercising. So I was able to put my experience, my passion, and my education all together into that position. And since I got into that, never left. Worked at 3 large multi-purpose family clubs in the area, and then got a chance to build Stone Creek from the ground up 10 years ago.
That's great. And Stephanie?
It is kind of one of those industries that just gets under your skin, and once you're there, you don't tend to want to leave. So
Yeah. Also, I don't think they let you out. I've been
That
trying
might
to
be
get
the
out of this
case.
thing
We
for
don't talk about that.
That might be the
19
case.
years, right? Yeah.
Right.
Once you get in, you never come out.
So my first job in high school was at the same club that Larry was at. I was working in the cafe making smoothies. The next summer I went on to the front desk. I worked it all through college, and when it came time to get that degree, I said, well, this job seems kind of cool. How can I make this legit? And
Okay.
I don't want to go out and get a real job, right? So the club industry was just something that got under my skin. It was a great place to be, positive energy, you're helping people. I found a passion for customer service, and so I parlayed my way into a little full-time gig, and I've been with Larry ever since.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what convinced you to say, okay, look, here's an opportunity that I can't pass up? I'm sure you had to sign some personal guarantees. I'm sure you had to do a sanity check and say, okay, am I ready to do this? And what if it doesn't go according to plan? Like, what do I do?
Yeah,
I was always so afraid of failure, and then I'm like, all right, dude, that might be part of the process. So talk us through what happened.
It was a decision you have to think through. When we got the opportunity to build Stone Creek, the ownership hired myself, and then I brought on Stephanie and Marvin from the very beginning, and we had to do it from scratch. We also built an office building. It was a $52 million development.
Yeah, just throw that in.
Yes.
It shouldn't be.
So, I was used to running multi-purpose family club, very large ones, 15,000 members, 12,000 members. This was going to be more of an individual resort-style club, limited membership. And it was going to be a lot less members, and I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if that's what I was going to, it was exactly meant for. But it really came out to be the best thing ever, and I don't regret it a bit.
And what, how long did it take for that project to go off, and how, what are some of the things that what are some of the lessons learned as you were going through that?
It was 18 months of building the club and the office building, and we did a lot of changes along the way. Less changes, the better. It costs you if you keep changing things, as we learned.
Right.
Actually, one of the toughest things we had to do was name the club, and that was one of the biggest decisions. And actually, Stephanie came up with the name, and it was a name that nobody hated, nobody loved, so they said, let's go with this one.
I love how my claim to fame is nobody hated it.
Is that how he rewards creativity?
Nobody hated it.
It wasn't too bad.
Yeah, that's my claim to fame.
Yeah, 12 years later, we're still in business.
That's right,
It's
that's
not,
right.
Nothing to do with the name, just a default.
It was a great name because everybody in our area loves to go skiing in Colorado. And so we came up with that name, and we gave it the little tagline of your everyday getaway, and it really just took away from there.
Did you have anything to do with the tagline?
Well, I recognized when Larry said the tagline quite by accident and had the pen in hand to write it down. And when he got off of that phone call, I said, you know what you just stumbled upon?
She said, what did you just say? And I had no idea.
If only you had an iPhone and we had the voice memo, because I would love to be a fly on that one and see what really happened.
Right.
I got a friend of mine at the show here. I think his name is Brian Mitchell, and he embellishes every story, and sometimes I'm in him. I'm like, dude, I wasn't at that show. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
But it usually ends well, so that's good. So, you've seen a lot of competition come into the market. You obviously have, been embedded in your community. how do you, as a management team and with the rest of your employees, basically say like, all right, we're delivering value. There's all these other things going on. Everyone's kind of running 100 miles an hour, and I feel like I might get hit. I might have to like completely change course and like cut my price. I might have to increase my price. I might have to do something irrational because somehow the world's, marketing world has changed. How do you kind of like as operators and say, look, this is my domain. I built a moat around this. You might not know there's a moat, but there is. Yeah. We're not going anywhere. I've been around for 11 years. I'll be around as long as I feel like it, right?
Yeah.
So how do you deal with some of the competitive factors and kind of scratch your head and like, I have no idea what's going on over there?
Well, I think
but it's bothering me.
There's a couple of things that kept us on course. One is we spent a lot of time working on the club's mission and its vision, and we really truly believed in it. And that was from the ownership down. So when times were tough, that was our guiding compass, and we stuck to it. We resisted the temptation. It would have been so easy during those tough times. We opened during a tough economic time in an overly saturated market. It would have been very easy to kind of say, well, all that was great pie in the sky, but now we got to make some money. So let's, slash our values for the sake of the dollar. But that's not what any of us are built on. And we were fortunate that our owners felt the same. And so we stuck through it. And we at the same time developed a company culture that put our values and service above everything else. And when you do that, it takes longer to see the goals come to fruition, but they came. And then I think it's more rewarding that way.
And our issue, 2009, saturated market, 40-something% of the population already belong to health clubs. And most people know it. You're only going to get 16 to 18%, way over the mark. And we're building a high-end resort club that does not discount prices. We're going to be more expensive, and everybody's going to pay the same price. It was a lot of nights wondering if we need to make a move on that, but we had to stay true. Like Stephanie says, you have to stay true to that. And it really worked out. It was a longer haul. It takes a little longer, but you're going to get there, and it's going to be more solid in the end.
And truth be told, you had a lot more hair back then,
I did. But it's coming back eventually, I'm sure.
And nothing to do with being an entrepreneur, I'm sure, right?
Not at all.
Nothing to do with
not
it.
At all.
100% genetic, right?
Yes.
Not affected by my environment. At all, ever. One of the things you mentioned here that I think is important, and we're trying to get across on as many podcasts as when it comes up, is that like you can look at the data and you can look at the KPIs, and then you can say, all right, I can do the math on that, and then like show me the culture, show me like well-trained employees, show me like the fact that people have been here since we started and they're not leaving. They don't come to me every year and ask for a raise. They're like feel like, hey, you pay me fairly, I trust you, you trust me, and I like what I'm doing. So. Like everyone's got to, feel like it's a win-win-win. Yeah. And we get companies that, that come over here, and some of them, that's the game they want to play. Like you're playing a game of like, hey, I'm going to make a difference in my community. Some people say, hey, the thing that gets me excited is I'm going to go try and create a 30 club chain. Right. So, I'm going to use, and you would never use it. I was just talking to Joe Cerulli. He's like, you would never use the term box for your club because you live in it. Right. So I don't live in a box, right? But if you're a private equity guy, or you're like an entrepreneur, you'd be like, oh, I just bought a 30-store development agreement. I'm going to, crank out like 6 boxes a year because you don't live in it.
Right.
Which means you don't really know the business. Right. And you're just looking at the data. You have no idea, like culture, like what, in Excel?
Right.
What is that?
They don't show up on dashboards.
Exactly.
Right.
And even the data people are saying that. Chris Riddle at Ursa today.
What did he say?
Or yesterday. He's a big data, studies all the data, but he said it's all about the experience. You got to have both sides.
Yeah. And when members talk about the club, they don't talk about the KPIs, right? They don't quote the attrition as why they're at the club or the number of treadmills even.
Right.
It's the feel that they get when they walk in the door. It's the relationships that they build with our team. And those are all intangible, but that's really where it is.
Yeah. No, we invested in a woman that'll be here later on. Her name's Andrea Rogers, and she has this extend bar Pilates dancer that came out of her kind of creating a program that resonated with her. And, we were talking about like, what's the tagline and like, how do you promote this? And it's like, and she said like, it's just a feeling, Pete. Like I can't articulate anything else. Like, and it was like, that is what it is.
It is.
Extend. It's a feeling, right? You like, that's important these days. Like people want to feel things, right?
Absolutely.
that makes it harder to replicate. So when you talk
Exactly.
business
It's like
to business,
intangible.
you
You
know,
can't
everybody
even-
wants the secret key, right? That's what they want in fitness
what's
and
the
weight loss. They
special
want the
sauce?
secret pill, you know, that they can just implement or plug in and get that same success. It's just not that simple.
Yep.
Cool.
But it does come down to the basics.
Yeah. So let's just stay on culture for a minute. What have you done, or what's like intuitively gets done inside of Stone Creek without giving us a special sauce? Well, why don't we let's turn the mic off for a sec. All right, go ahead. We're not on.
Do you
No, I'm
want
just
to talk
kidding. I'm
about
just
your
kidding.
take care principle?
I'm just kidding.
We could, yes.
I think that's
yes.
a great way to explain how we built what we
Yeah,
built.
we'll take that and put it together.
All right, ready to get? No, we're keeping this live. We're just joking around. Go, fire away, fire away, fire
All
away.
right.
You didn't catch that.
Now,
We had you, man. You were about to give us the secret formula. We were like, damn
that's
it.
great. Are we on the record now?
I'm gonna get sued. I'm gonna get sued for that, right?
We, basically, everybody has the vision. You have the mission statement, the core values, and even though I went through school and all that, memorizing things, it's not my thing. So what I like to do, it's got to have meaning. It's got to mean something. So we put all that together and came up with what we call Take Care Principle. And our Take Care Principle is an acronym. It means a lot of things like teamwork and doing things for the right reason, keeping it clean. But if you remember nothing else, if you don't remember all the acronyms for those 8 letters, basically, you just need to remember, take care of the members, take care of the employees, and that takes care of our business.
Yeah.
And that's when our employees come through the service entrance, the take care principles on the door as they come through.
Gotcha.
And then I think beyond that, it truly is leading by example. You know, Larry is the best servant leader I've ever seen. And that inspires us every day because there's nothing that he won't do to benefit the club, the members, and the employees. And so you can't be a slacker in that kind of environment, right? It pushes you to do better, too.
I was, just on that point of being like a servant manager or leader. I was just talking to a guy that we were working with on an early stage company, and he shows me a paper that looks like this. So it has like the head of the company, and then it's got his managers, and then his
Right.
general managers, and then he hands it to me, and he goes like this, and he turns it around. He's like, "That's me down here." Right, that's not me up here, but that's me. I'm like on the bottom, and I'm like here to support this line of defense, and then like I'm here to support this. So I'm like, I used to play goalie, so I'm like, all right, the managers basically we gotta make sure we don't lose. Well, like, what do you need to either break even or win today?
Yeah.
Individually, professionally, personally, whatever it is, I gotta manage everybody and push them forward, and that's me as the CEO. I'm actually at the bottom. I'm actually not at the top, which I thought was an interesting. Basically,
That's a
just taking
very
what
good
you
way.
said and like put it that way.
I like
It
it.
is.
Let's take care, like upside down.
Absolutely, and you're part of the team. You're
Yeah.
absolutely part of the team, and a leader is always going to be a part of the team, and hopefully developing other leaders along the way.
That's great. So, you've probably had the urge to say, okay, let's go build a couple more locations. Let's kind of max this out. Are those things that at this point in the cycle, if you say, okay, there might be some really interesting opportunities where you have either people retiring, maybe they're not really running a business, along the lines that you are.
Right.
And there may be some opportunities to pick up some, older clubs that, could use some TLC culturally and financially that somebody else isn't going to do, whether it's a tennis center, aquatic center. So should we, are you guys cool if I call you if I have one of those available, or do you not want anything to do with it?
Absolutely.
Trying to create like an investment banking lead here.
Absolutely. You always keep all options open. All options are open, but we are pretty selective in what we do every day, and always going to be selective in what we choose to go forward, because we want to make sure whatever we're doing, we're delivering a difference. It's got to be a different experience, and it's got to be special to the person receiving it. So yes, we're always open for other things.
I think what he meant to say is, look, I'll take your phone call, but don't expect a positive response.
Yeah.
That's basically what you just said in like a really nice and touchy-feely way to me, which I'm going to take as like, talk to you again. No, just kidding.
Well, I'd say one of the ways that I think that Larry specifically, but all of us have kind of grown from just the one location is to be involved in organizations like URSA. Larry's been a speaker at URSA. I've been a speaker at URSA. He's now going to be speaking at the URSA Institute on a yearly basis.
Nice.
People call to ask questions all the time. So we've got a great network of clubs built around the country. And if we can inspire somebody here or through his other educational sessions or just the networking groups that we're a part of, then we are sending a little piece of Stone Creek everywhere we go.
Little
Well
piece of
done.
Stone
Yeah.
Creek. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's end on that awesome positive note. And I guess if it was a creek, then we're going to spread the ripple effect. We used to chuck the rocks, skimming rocks. So let's skim rocks out of Stone Creek so other people can be as successful as you are.
There we go.
Giving back to your community. And it's a pleasure meeting you guys. And let's hang out as much as possible.
All right, sounds
All
good.
right.
Enjoyed
Thank you.
it.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.